Hey everyone. You think you know dysfunctional families? Wait until you hear about Nicholas Scratch and his mother, Agatha Harkness. This isn't just another Marvel origin story. This is a psychological thriller wrapped in magical mayhem, where every spell cast deepens the wounds between mother and son. Picture this. Hidden in the Colorado mountains lies New Salem, a secret sanctuary for magical beings fleeing persecution. Into this isolated world, Nicholas Scratch was born. But his mother, Agatha Harkness, made a choice that would poison their relationship forever. She left. She abandoned New Salem and ventured into the outside world, the very world their ancestors had fled in terror. But it gets worse. Agatha didn't just leave, she became a nanny. The legendary witch who could reshape reality itself chose to change diapers for Franklin Richards, son of the Fantastic Four. Can you imagine that betrayal? Your mother choosing another woman's child over you? Therefore, resentment wasn't just an emotion for Nicholas. It became his religion. Nicholas didn't just sulk about his abandonment. He weaponized it. Standing before the entire New Salem community, he declared, "She has betrayed us all," painting his personal abandonment as community-wide treachery. Every word was surgical, designed to turn fear into fury. Nicholas understood manipulation. The best lies are wrapped in truth. Agatha had left them. She was working with outsiders. The facts were on his side, even if his motivations were poisoned by jealousy. Therefore, they abducted Agatha for trial and execution. But they also kidnapped Franklin Richards, bringing the Fantastic Four crashing into their secret world. When the four arrived at Agatha's trial, they defeated Nicholas not with superior firepower, but with a devastating truth. "We didn't even know you existed until you brought us here." The crushing weight of that revelation turned his own people against him. The community banished him to the Dark Realm, not death, but exile to contemplate his failures for eternity. But Nicholas Scratch doesn't give up easily. Here's where Nicholas reveals his true genius and his true madness. Most villains would use their time in exile to plot revenge. Nicholas used it to build a legacy. Enter the Salem Seven, his children, each one a living weapon forged from his desire for vindication. But these weren't just offspring, they were extensions of his will. Supernatural soldiers programmed with one purpose: bring Daddy home. When they struck New Salem during what should have been a celebration, it was poetry in motion. The Salem Seven didn't just attack, they orchestrated a supernatural performance. Every resident of New Salem, including Agatha herself, fell into coma-like trances. The entire community that had rejected Nicholas lay helpless before his children. But the real masterstroke? They arranged the unconscious bodies of the Fantastic Four like pieces on a chessboard, creating a mystical nexus to tear open reality itself and drag Nicholas back to Earth. Picture that scene. The heroes who had once stood triumphant over Nicholas, now reduced to magical batteries for his resurrection. It's not just revenge, it's artistic revenge. However, Agatha Harkness didn't become one of Marvel's most feared sorceresses by accident. Even in her weakened state, she found the strength to strip her own children of their power and lock Nicholas away once again. A mother's love, or a mother's fear of what she'd created? This is where Nicholas's obsession reveals its true scope. He didn't just want freedom, he wanted to inhabit the life his mother had chosen over him. Through sheer force of will and magical prowess, Nicholas broke through dimensional barriers, traveled through the negative zone, a realm of antimatter that would obliterate most beings, and emerged on Earth with one target: Franklin Richards. Think about the psychological implications here. Nicholas wasn't just seeking to harm the child his mother protected. He wanted to become that child, to literally inhabit the body that had received Agatha's care and attention. The possession of Franklin wasn't random violence, it was the ultimate identity theft. By taking over Franklin's body, Nicholas would force his mother to nurture him, protect him, love him, all while knowing the terrible truth of what he'd done. But even this twisted plan had a fatal flaw. Nicholas underestimated the bonds he was trying to break. Gabriel, the devil hunter, and others rallied to Franklin's defense, not because of duty or heroism, but because of love. The very emotion Nicholas had been denied became the weapon used against him. When they finally expelled him and restored the Dark Realm, Agatha made a choice that would haunt them both forever. She stripped Nicholas of his magic, his birthright, his identity, his very self, and spoke words that no mother should ever say. "You are no longer my son." Years later, in the picturesque town of Centerville, residents welcomed their new mayor with open arms. Mayor Nicholas seemed like the perfect American politician. Charming, accessible, committed to turning their community into a showcase of heartland values. Nicholas had learned that the best way to control people wasn't through fear or magic. It was through comfort. Make them dependent on you, make them grateful, and they'll never question what you're really doing. Centerville became his laboratory for a new kind of manipulation. Every resident unknowingly entered into demonic contracts, their souls slowly being harvested while they believed they were living in paradise. It's gentrification taken to its supernatural extreme. When Patsy Walker, better known as Hellcat, returned to her hometown, she found something that looked perfect but felt wrong. The uncanny valley of evil, where everything appears normal until you look too closely and see the strings. The genius of Nicholas's Centerville operation wasn't its scope, it was its subtlety. No grand pronouncements, no obvious supernatural threats, just a slow, methodical harvesting of human agency disguised as civic improvement. But Nicholas had learned something crucial from his previous defeats. He needed better allies. When Hellcat finally confronted him, she expected to find another servant of Mephisto, Marvel's devil, the classic tempter of souls. But Nicholas had graduated beyond such pedestrian evil. "I serve Dormammu now," he revealed, calling down the dreadlord of the dark dimension like a cosmic cell phone call. Think about what this represents. Nicholas had moved from family drama to cosmic horror. Dormammu doesn't just want to rule Earth. He wants to conquer hell itself, to become the supreme power across multiple dimensions of existence. And Nicholas? He wasn't just serving this entity. He was promised the position of Sorcerer Supreme in the New Order, the very title that should have been his birthright, stolen by his mother's abandonment, would finally be his. But here's the beautiful irony. Even cosmic evil has its politics. The other Hell Lords weren't exactly thrilled about Dormammu's expansion plans. When they froze hell over in response, both Dormammu and Nicholas found themselves on the run, refugees from their own ambitions. This brings us to Nicholas's masterpiece of manipulation, a scheme so elaborate it makes his previous plots look like children's games. Disguising himself as his own mother, Agatha Harkness, Nicholas convinced the Salem 7 to begin a new resurrection ritual. But they weren't trying to bring back Nicholas Scratch. They were trying to summon something far worse. Shuma-Gorath, the Chaos Lord whose very existence threatens the fabric of reality. He ambushed Doctor Strange, the actual Sorcerer Supreme, and imprisoned him in a pocket dimension. Then, disguised as Strange himself, he manipulated the Fantastic Four into casting the very spell that would bring Shuma-Gorath to Earth. But even this plan had a fatal flaw: Nicholas's need for recognition. When Shuma-Gorath arrived, Nicholas couldn't resist offering both the Fantastic Four and even Salem 7 as sacrifices. The man who claimed to fight for family ultimately used family as currency. Justice came from an unexpected source: Diablo, another villain who understood the value of long-term thinking over immediate gratification. When Diablo freed Doctor Strange, he didn't just undo Nicholas's spell, he rewrote it. The man who had spent his entire existence trying to control others suddenly found himself at the mercy of two children, Franklin and Valeria Richards. The poetic justice is staggering. Nicholas, who had tried to possess Franklin, who had manipulated children throughout his schemes, was finally defeated by the pure, uncorrupted power of childhood itself. Franklin and Valeria didn't banish Nicholas through hatred or revenge. They did it through the simple recognition that he didn't belong in their world, children seeing clearly what adults had missed. Therefore, Nicholas found himself exactly where he belonged. Hell, making deals with Mephisto for an upcoming war that may never come. In Marvel Snap, his current ability of gaining +1 power after playing skills doesn't capture what makes him terrifying at all. A better ability would be On Reveal. Copy the On Reveal ability of opponent card here. This perfectly captures his signature move of impersonating others, like when he disguised himself as Doctor Strange and used the hero's trust against them to bring Shuma-Gorath to Earth. Thank you for taking this journey with me. Who do you want me to cover next? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, let me know if you'd like it formatted for a blog,